This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
Welcome into the Sports Source Digital Network. Appreciate you joining us. I'm John Pennington, joined by a couple of friends of mine. We got John Wilkerson right here from 991 The Sports Animal. Folks can hear you 6 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. Right over there, VFL Mike Stowell. Folks can see you on the Sports Source fall. Sundays this fall. You're there for SEC games. We get you to drive all the way in from the mid-state, which I appreciate.
I'm glad to do it. Just to be on your show is an honor.
I don't have to pay him that much to make him say that. All right. Hey, I wanted to talk to you guys. We haven't had you on camera to talk about this. Haven't had you on camera to talk about this. You, of course, former Vol football player. You cover Tennessee football and have for 70, 80 years now, like me. Just the world of college football at the moment. And I'm just going to throw out some terms. We're not going to get into all these things, but NIL, portal, house settlement, mega conferences, playoff, private equity. It's a new one this week. I'll give you another one that could be coming. David Ubben did a story with The Athletic a couple of years ago. The Saudi investment fund. Don't forget that the Saudis could come and throw money at an athletic department. And there were a lot of athletic directors that told David it would be hard to turn down their money. So you throw in all this stuff, the stuff that's happened, the stuff that's happening, the crazy stuff that could happen. How do you feel about college football and the direction it's going? Does it have a direction?
I don't think it does. It's been interesting because since April, in fact, actually March leading into April, everything was promised. And it's like, yes, we're all tired of the wild, wild west. There needs to be direction. There needs to be a path. And hey, everybody, once the house settlement's done, right, it's going to be taken care of. Every I will be dotted and T will be crossed. And it's kind of like Lloyd and Harry as they're riding across the country. And it's like, man, I expected more out of the Rockies. That John Denver's full of crap. Because that's what it's been. I mean, as soon as it gets signed, sealed, and delivered, there's an immediate challenge, and there are only going to be more to follow. And all that it's done, while it has addressed concerns, it has very few answers. I mean, okay, sure, there are parameters that are there for in terms of size of roster, what it's going to be like with the revenue that you have at your disposal, up to an amount to split amongst your programs.
You have an NIL clearinghouse that's supposed to be looking at what is and what isn't a fair deal.
Sure. So you have all these things that are part of what people would love to see, but until you have some sort of representation for the athletes, because they have to be represented, and at the same time, they also have to agree to be bound. Yeah. They're the ones that keep bringing the lawsuits. Mm-hmm. And then you also have the athletics departments that are saying we need more of a strong, firm hand and an actual roadmap. But this is a GPS that leads you to coordinates that are supposed to be your destination, but you get there and it's like a burned out vacant lot. And it's like, I know it's around here somewhere, but we'll just keep driving around until we hopefully find it.
Well, and the schools ask for firm hand and rules and everything. And this includes Tennessee. Anytime somebody comes back with, okay, well, here's the rule and you violated it, lawsuit. So the players are suing, the schools are suing. They all say they want X until it gives them a bum deal, and then they take it to court. I mean, Mike, we'll just start. Let me get your thoughts on where college football is compared to where it was when you played.
Well, we didn't have helmets or anything back when I played, so yes. We didn't have extra points, all that other stuff. We kicked straight-toed. It's one of those things that, money is the root of all evil. And this is what you've got. And it all kind of started with the transfer portal. I think that totally messed things up. And the NCAA made a mistake, and they let the cat out of the bag. Once the cat got out of the bag with that, then it became payments, and then it became, collectives and NILs, and, the conference alignments, conference alignments, TV money, all this stuff. It has just spiraled out of control. I think back to when I was a player, and I tell people this all the time, it's like, I came here in 1988, and we went 0-6 and 5-6. I was 2,200 miles away from home. I was miserable. I was like, man, this is not what I had signed up for. I was away from home. I was homesick. We weren't winning. I was lucky enough to travel, but I was redshirt and I wasn't playing. I was going to these places. I went home in the winter and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go back. But If I were not to have gone back, I would have had to burn another year, and so I only had 3 years left to play. That made me go back to Tennessee because I could transfer to Oregon, I could transfer to BYU, could transfer anywhere on the West Coast.
Or your favorite, Boise State.
Boise State. They were still like Division II or something back then. Playing in front of like 15 people. Now they play in front of 40 people, so it's a lot different. But I stuck it out. And you know what? That decision of me as a person having to go through that challenge made me who I am today. Put my roots where they are today, put my family, all my legacy, everything along that had fallen into place. Kids don't do that today. Kids don't experience that because of the way the transfer. I don't like it. I'm going to go somewhere else and make money. I'm still waiting for my money, but at the end of the day, that was the first downfall. And now it has become just such a big machine and rolled out of control. It is not college sport. It is professional sports, and it should be treated as such.
Yeah, that's where I'm at this point. Just stop this. Stop the madness. Just make it a pro sport.
Yeah.
And if you don't like pro sports, then walk away from it. I understand you're going to lose some people. I think most people don't care.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, it is their pro sport. All those people over at Neyland Stadium never spent 1 hour in a class at UT. They are sidewalk alums. They grew up pulling for UT, same way they would pulling for the Titans or the Cowboys or whoever.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, and they'd be fine if it's pro. The transfer portal to me is of all these ills, that is the one that people talk about. Well, the NIL is ruining the game. You wouldn't even know about NIL if people weren't hitting the portal constantly to go get more NIL. The portal's the problem. And for years, I was on the side of, look, these kids, they make a mistake and where they went, they ought to be able to go. Coaches can boot somebody. Why they can leave. Why can't a player leave? And I believe that. I still believe that. The problem is, you get one of those. You get a mulligan.
Yes.
I never anticipated you would have a guy that played 5 years at 5 schools. And you're there now. I mean, Tennessee just had a basketball player. Tennessee will be his 4th school. I'm sorry. So if he makes the Hall of Fame someday, does he go in Tennessee's media guide or Georgia Tech's media guide or Ole Miss's media guide or Southern Mississippi? I mean, that to me is a little bit nuts that you can transfer just on a whim, on an absolute whim.
Well, and we never saw it on more full display than this past spring, and it's exactly what Mike was talking about. I mean, you had guys that were on their 2nd school, their 3rd school actually, this calendar year. They finished the season where they played last year, transferred to another school when the first portal opened, and then decided to transfer after the spring to another school. And it's like, to me, that is insane. It makes no sense, and it really is something that tears at the fabric of what so many people would just say, gosh, that is so hard to stomach. But it is also the pursuit of the grass being always greener on the other side of the fence. And then you also hear the numbers that just because you put your name in the portal doesn't mean that somebody's going to say, oh, you have to come play for us. A lot of times you probably have to either drop down a division or 2 if you don't find any takers.
You look at a guy like Tyler Barron. Left Tennessee, was going to go to Ole Miss, wound up at Louisville. Left Louisville, wound up at Miami. He was in 4 schools in 1 year. I don't know that he was ever technically on the Ole Miss campus, so he was at 3.5, if you want to say he committed there. I just don't think that part's good for the game. And I don't know, of all these things we're talking about, I don't know how many of them are good for the game. Certainly no one's really thinking about the fan. I'm not surprised by that. That's not a revelation. But there's very little consideration for the fan in all this. Schools want money, players want money, coaches want money. Coaches also want the easiest path to a championship that they can get. If they could play Kent State 12 weeks out of the year, they would do it. Some ADs would do that. I just don't think anybody's sitting there going, well, the fans deserve better this. The fans deserve better that. They don't seem to care about that at all, which, again, not a surprise, but certainly a reality.
Chasing the dollar. But the other thing is like, when they start talking about paying players, like, you know what? Yeah, they should. Within reason, right? I mean, I think about like we'd wait in the summer, they'd close down Gibbs Hall like on the weekends. And so we would get like a check of like $100 at the beginning of the month to cover those 4 weeks of not eating. And dude, we had money. It was so exciting, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm
And then
not
after those 2 kegs, you were done for the month.
then after we went to Crystal, and my money was gone. So then I'm like hoarding food and stuffing it in my shirt as I walk out of Gibbs Hall on Friday. But the thing is, again, it's give the kids a little bit of pocket change, not the kind of money that they're seeing now, where they're getting more than NFL players. They're getting more than the rookie contracts will look like.
If you're a high-end college player, yes, you can make more than some of the rookie deals for somebody drafted 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that's the thing that, again, it's within reason, right? Okay, well, you can transfer one. That's within reason. You can have some money. You can give a player $20,000 a year within reason. But it just, no. I'm going to be better than them. The way that I get them is I spend more money, I use more money. That gets me the advantage. It's buying wins.
Yeah, and I know the discussion has taken place so many times on the Sports Source, but it bears repeating, and that is the intent was good, just like the road to you-know-where, paved with good intentions. It was to reward those that had been a part of the program, had been part of the success, and it was their perhaps jersey numbers were the ones that fans were purchasing specifically because, hey, he's their best player. He wears the number 7, so look at all the number 7 jerseys that are available to be sold. It was a way to give him a proper slice of the pie, and then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, thank you for all you've done, but we want this guy to come be the next you, so we're going to give him all this money. And so here are huge Scrooge McDuck bags of money and a wheelbarrow full of cash, and yet you haven't played one snap yet. And yet that's where you're allocating your funds, because it's who's coming in next and whom you can meet their price, as opposed to thanking and rewarding the guy who's been a part of your sustained success as a program.
The pro angle to all of this, Danny White, Tennessee's AD, has made it pretty clear that, and kudos to him for saying it, because I think he's just stating the obvious, and a lot of people aren't saying it yet. Eventually, the only solution here is to collectively bargain a deal, which means they're going to be employees, which means it's professional. Okay. Do you have a problem with that? If that's where it wound up, but you had a system, you're going from no system now, but they're sort of amateur. Or you could go for, no, they're minor league sport now, but the leagues are this. They can make up to this. They can only leave school once, or they sign a contract. Where do you stand on that? It's like, no, we've got to keep the amateur stuff. Or would you say, hey, if it answers all these other questions, just make it pro sports?
There is actually a way in which they could be represented and allow themselves to be collectively bargained with without becoming exactly what you're talking about. So, and I think that's going to be the sweet spot. If they can somehow agree on who would represent athletics and who would represent the athletes, then they could meet and discuss. But yeah, there has to be something. There has to be that you agree to be bound.
By a player, it can't part of a players' union. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It can't be Madden Iamaleava taking however many thousands of dollars in the spring at Arkansas and then deciding to join his brother at UCLA without Arkansas being able to say, we want our money back. Sure. And I think athletes need to realize that, yes, you have the freedom to move, but there's also, you made a commitment to that school, they paid you money, you either give them the money back. If coaches have buyouts to move around the country, players also indeed should also have to perhaps go through something similar.
Mike, where are you on the pro side of this thing? Are you okay if it's minor league or no?
Yeah, it is now. I mean, call it what it is. It is, you're paying athletes. Like, what is the definition of a professional athlete? Somebody that gets paid for a service that they're doing. They're getting paid to play football, period.
Or basketball.
Or whatever that may be. And so they're a professional athlete. The amount of money that is transpired now, no question about it, they're professional athletes. So find a way to make it, we still get tons of, everybody's like, oh, you ruined the college games. Well, everybody still loves watching college games. Everybody still enjoys cheering for their team. But just now they have to have a better structure in place so that it is collectively bargained, whether it's for players or representations for players and coaches. And, okay, when you come in, here's what you get. Here's what your employment agreement means, right? You got to sign everything so you can be, prove all your test scores and everything so that you can get into college. You got to do the same thing for football. Why not? Keep academic standings. You've got to keep your football standings the same way. but it is a pro sport as we see it today.
Mike Stowell, John Wilkerson, thanks to both of you. Thanks to anybody who sat through all that. We'll see you next time on the Sports Source Digital Network. Go ahead, click the like button, leave a comment, click subscribe, click notify. If there's anything else there to click them all except for this. Don't click that. See you next time on the Sports Source Digital Network.